speaking, parents, parents and professionals, and then we also have several other members of our team who speak Spanish as well. So we should always have someone available at the center who can help our Spanish speaking parents. We're an award-winning statewide training and information center. This is our 40th year. So we've been here quite a while. Most of our funding comes from either the United States Board of Education or the Utah State Board of Education. But we also have grants coming from other places as well. So we have a very broad mission, which is basically to help parents help their children with disabilities and to help them live included, productive lives as members of the community. So we do many things at the Parent Center. We provide free, and everything we do is free. We provide one-on-one consultations for parents. We can do that if they just walk in. We can do that through appointments, phone calls, emails. We do trainings, workshops, outreach activities where we distribute a lot of our resources and materials. So we try to be available in a number of ways for people. We also have a website, utahparentcenter.org, that's visited thousands and thousands of times each year. We have a newsletter that's free, an e-newsletter that goes out to anyone who has contact with the center. We try and get them on our mailing list, and that covers a variety of topics every month. As I said, we have free trainings, frequent trainings, and if you go on to utahparentcenter.org, we have a calendar of events that will show you each month the free trainings, workshops, outreach activities that we are hosting, and you can just click on the link right on the website and register for those, and then you'll get email reminders, you'll get handouts, those kinds of things once you've registered for the events. And we just have hundreds and hundreds of resources that we can help parents, professionals, anybody who has youth with disabilities or works with youth with disabilities to help support them in their journey. One thing that we also have is a peer-to-peer model in our organization, which means that every parent consultant is also a parent of a child with disabilities. I have 2 daughters that we adopted from Russia with multiple disabilities, and I actually found out about the Utah Parent Center as a parent looking for resources and support. And then years later, now I'm able to do the same thing, helping other parents find that information and support. So we have a super staff. Honestly, I can't imagine working with a better group of people because everyone here understands that life can be hard and that parents need help, and we're here to give it. We're anxious to support our parents. We have a lot of resources, as I mentioned before, that we have available, and they're continually being updated and improved, and everything is free. We have it available digitally on our website, but we also have hard copies of a lot of things printed off, handbooks and workbooks, such as these two are 2 of our more popular resources. And if parents call the Utah Parent Center and request that these be mailed out, then they're mailed out free of charge to them. And that can be invaluable, especially for people with limited internet access, or just older folks like myself who really like a hard copy in their hands that they can dog ear and highlight and go back to again and again. So again, we try to reach out in a number of ways. We also have an Instagram account and a Facebook group as well. So we're really trying to reach parents and professionals, again, wherever they might be, to provide them that information and that support. I don't know if you are all familiar with what an IEP is, but if you have a child with disabilities and they qualify for special education services in their schools, then they will have something called an individual educational plan, or an IEP. And these are revisited at least once a year by the parents and a team of members from the school generally. And goals and services are outlined in these plans. It can be a bit of an overwhelming process, especially at first for parents. And so one of the main things that the educational parent consultants, such as myself, do is help those parents navigate the IEP process, with writing the goals, deciding on the services that are essential to support their child, and then helping them to work with the team to put these into place and to follow up on them. It can be a pretty overwhelming process for parents and for the schools. And so we act as a facilitator, an advocate, somebody who can go in and support the parents through that process, where sometimes they can feel a little alone. Particularly if everyone else on the IEP team is associated with a school or a school district, and it's just them advocating for their child. We're there to help support them. So that's one of the more important things that we do, in addition to the educating and the training. But again, our mission is to empower the parent to become their child's best advocate, not to do that for them. So we are trying to support the parent as they support their child. We also offer a lot of regular workshops and trainings. One of our more, I think, accessible workshops are called the Lunch and Learns, because they're real quick, little bite-sized, pun intended, trainings that happen from noon to 12:30 throughout the month, and we'll break down a larger topic such as social emotional supports or behavior, or IEPs, into smaller segments, and have a series of those that's offered during the lunch hour. So parents who work outside the home can access those quickly and easily, and ask questions. We always try and leave time for questions and answers afterward. But again, we always also encourage those parents to give us a call, send us an email, reach out to us some way for individualized help, because most of the trainings are general in nature, and everybody's situation is individual and specific and unique to their family. So we encourage them to give us a call and have their own parent consultant helping support them with their unique situations. We also have online workshops, Zoom workshops. We did offer quite a few in-person trainings, and we still do, especially for Spanish speakers. We tend to have a lot of in-person events for them. But since COVID, we've found that many people prefer the online meeting and the online training. It's sure convenient when we can get the tech to work. And so we do offer quite a few online, but we also have some in person. And again, if you get onto our website and you look under the calendar of events, it will tell you if it's virtual, if it's in person. Sometimes we have hybrid events. These are some of the other examples of some of the other types of things that we can do, again, online workshops and trainings for parents and professionals. We do have, as I mentioned before, some consultants that are dedicated to specific school districts. These are the school districts that currently have contracted with us to have a dedicated consultant. That does not mean that the consultant works for the school district. They're still an employee of the Utah Parent Center, but it means that that school district has found it worth their while to spend the money to have a member of our staff work specifically with them. And this can be a real benefit, because we have consultants that have worked with some of their districts for a decade or more, and they've been able to really forge those close working relationships, and they know a lot about the schools and the people that are at the schools. And so they can really support the parent quite effectively. So whenever a parent calls in that their child is in a specific school district where we have a dedicated consultant, we encourage them to work with that consultant for that just added benefit. But if the districts don't have a dedicated consultant, again, we have a half a dozen statewide consultants, such as myself, that can help as well. And we even have some charter schools that have contracted with us to have their own consultant. So not every charter school, certainly, but those listed there have. The other side of our organization is Utah Family Voices. And these are our consultants that have expertise in the area of special health care needs and community resources. They can help parents understand things like the Affordable Care Act and, where they might be able to take advantage of that. The DSPD, which is the Department of Services for People with Disabilities. So the Utah State Legislature has recently approved expanded funding for people on the DSPD wait list. So more of those can come off of the wait list and start receiving those services. DSPD provides long-term services. So an IEP will be for supporting a child while they're in their, 3 to age 22 school years. But the DSPD is for that long-term care for those people with disabilities that will continue to need care after school. And there has been a really long waiting list. And again, just this year, there's been additional funding freed up. And so the consultants and our Utah Family Voices part of our organization can help parents navigate. How do you sign up for that? How do you work with your counselor there, your caseworker at the DSPD? Those kinds of related issues. Medicaid, how to, again, apply for Medicaid, what kinds of services might be available on Medicaid, just all the host of Medicaid related issues. Social Security benefits. We can't apply for the parent, but we can help support the parent as they apply. Or again, if their child is receiving those benefits, there are a lot of financial ins and outs that they'll need to know around that. And our consultants are really experts at helping parents navigate that process. Guardianship. This is something that we find there's a great need for. Parents with children with disabilities sometimes wonder, should they become legal guardians of their child? And if so, how do you go about doing that? Does it require a lawyer? How expensive is it? How do you get started? We have a brand new guardianship workbook. In fact, it's just being unboxed now at our office that we can send out, but we also hold, again, those online trainings and workshops teaching parents about the process of gaining guardianship if that's the decision they make. And then the medical home portal as well. Our Utah Family Voices consultants can help parents with all that has to offer parents of children with disabilities. We have a lending library for families, and we also have some devices. If some of the families that you work with don't have access to devices that would help them maybe get their telehealth care or some of their other health care appointments, then we have devices that can be lent out to those families. So you can call and ask about that. We also even have internet service. I think cards, maybe. I can't remember how they deliver that benefit, but we do have internet minutes available too for parents who might need those. This is one of our collaborations that I talked about with we call it EDDI, the EDDI project, for identifying children ages 0 to 3, getting that early detection, the assessments, the testing, and then helping the parents understand what they can do then to get resources and support for their children who may be deaf or hard of hearing. That's a really, really wonderful organization, and we've got some great parents involved in that. Our Family to Family Network is an initiative that the Utah Parent Center, I guess, organizes of volunteers throughout the state. So these are volunteer parents and families who want to help support other families who are navigating, the system of benefits for their children with disabilities. And so they have frequent local meetings, events. They host a lot of fun events, online trainings again, and workshops. So again, reaching out to those families that are impacted by disabilities and making sure that they have support, that they have other families, that they have a network of people that understand and that can help them and that they can be connected to. We have a coordinator here, Mindy Rivera, who is over the Family to Family Network, and she's always planning fun things and ways to get those families connected with each other. Some of our newer programs have to do with transition age students, children, and their parents. And by transition age, we mean that transitioning process to adulthood. In Utah, legally, once a child turns 14, and if they're receiving special education services at a school, legally, their IEP plans need to start including transition plans, transition services, talking about what that child wants to do when they leave school. Will they be getting a job? If so, would they like employment support through vocational rehabilitation centers or independent living centers? Will they be going on in their education? If so, what kind of programs are available? What can they be doing now in their school years to prepare for employment and future education? And so we have a fairly newer program called Transition University that has just become all-encompassing about the transition experience. They have their own university trainings and workshops. They also have workbooks and handbooks for parents and for youth that talk about employment, social life, community living, healthy living, education, all those different areas that when a child begins to transition to adulthood, a parent is going to need to be looking at to help their child with that process. We have a program called Life Launch that is 3 modules, again, dealing with employment and education and community living. It's a series. I think we try to offer this at least once or twice a year, but Transition University is ongoing. We have something called Transition Tuesdays now, where one Tuesday a month, a specific topic will be focused on about transitioning. Again, you can access that through our events calendar and register for that as well. I'm looking at the calendar here. It looks like June's focus is employment. We're taking July off. August focus is the transition to adult health care, DSPD, healthcare waivers. September is the post-high and secondary education focus. So again, Transition University, a great resource for people with disabilities that are in that age. I mentioned the guide and the workbook for the youth. And again, these are the 6 categories. They're color-coded across all of the Transition University offerings for ease of reference. And then the guardianship booklet for parents that helps them make that decision and walks them through the process. And then a choices handbook as well for parents that talks about all of those areas of transition that they will need to be considering with their youth. About, what was it? Almost a third, I think, of the parents that we support have a child on the spectrum. And so one of our newer initiatives is Autism Across the Lifespan, where we're developing resources that do that in-depth dive specifically for children with autism across the lifespan, where we can connect them with organizations throughout Utah that provide different aspects of care, where there's a training curriculum for the parents, where they can access resources and information specific to autism. This is just a snapshot of our website homepage there. And again, you can see that at the top there, the tabs, we have different disabilities that correspond with the IDEA, the Individuals with Disabilities Educational Act. So sometimes parents will click on that disabilities tab and they don't see their child's specific disability listed. That doesn't mean that we don't have resources for that. We very likely do, but the disability categories listed there correspond to the categories of eligibility for IEPs. However, if you use the search bar, you can find resources on, like I say, almost every disability. We have a YouTube channel too, which I don't think I mentioned. So thousands of videos on our YouTube channel of past trainings, past workshops, all kinds of resources of interest to parents. Here's that. And then the resources, those will be tabs about all kinds of things from, oh my goodness, behavior to assessments to health plans to positive behavioral supports, those kinds of things, discipline. Those will be found under our resource tabs, and then the events calendar that I mentioned. We endeavor to have at least our most popular offerings translated into Spanish and on the website, and we do even have some of them in print as well. I know our new guardianship booklet and the Transition University materials are all being printed in Spanish. So And we're again constantly developing. Right, our director Joey Hanna is always looking for new ways to support parents and families with new projects, and just any way that we can think to reach out to the community. And there's quite an intersection between disabilities and the diverse populations in Utah, and ethnicity as well. And we want to make sure that people aren't falling through the cracks. And so this might be something that you are at the forefront of, and we want you to know about all of our various resources and the ways that we can help support people in different communities. Family Links Conference is a statewide group of disability organizations who come together and provide the trainings, the conferences to parents, but also resources and just an opportunity to get out, have fun, socialize, meet people. Our Family Links Conference this year is going to be held in September at Wheeler Farm. And it's going to be a week of trainings for parents, but then culminating in a Friday night event where we're going to have all kinds of just fun activities, a talent show, vendors, food, entertainment, all kinds of fun things for families to get together and meet other families and become aware of things that are out there for them. So again, there are a number of ways for people to contact us. They can call in, and our wonderful admin staff will route the parents to the education side, the Utah Family Voices side. Maybe they just want resources. They can email us at info@utahparentcenter.org. Again, we have that Facebook page and Instagram account. We have a YouTube channel. So lots of different ways that we hope parents can reach out and access some of our resources. So that's about it. If anybody has any questions, I'd be happy to talk about them.
I do, Michelle, have one quick question. How do you work with, or how do you interface with foster families? And like, is that a part of what you do? And then is there any help you give kids as they're transitioning out of foster care?
So we don't provide like help to foster care families as a group, but we do individually. Right upstairs in our same building is the Utah Foster Care Organization. And then we also collaborate with Raising the Future, which does quite a bit with the foster care parents, especially those that are thinking about adopting their foster children. But the Utah Foster Care Association would be the contact there if you're looking for, as a broad group. If there's an individual foster parent that needs help, yes, please, have them call. And again, I might have left the impression that it's either education or community health care, but it's not. When you call the parent center, they can actually post a parent on both documents. So that way they can get calls from both sides of our organization.
Great, thank you so much. Does anyone else have any questions for Michelle before we let her go? Nope. Okay, Michelle, thank you so much for being here. This was really interesting, and I will forward this presentation to folks when I post the video. So
Okay.
we have so many great organizations doing great work. Thank you for being here.
It's true. And sometimes we just don't know about each other. So
I know that's that's the fun part for me with these meetings is just it's getting to know what's happening in our community.
and
So
like I
thank you so
say,
much.
we want to support however we can. So thank you for all that you do. Thanks for having me and enjoy the rest of your day.
You too, Michelle. Thank you so much.
Bye.
Well, I oops, I'll let a couple of people in. That was so interesting. I think about the people who don't know where to turn when they're having challenges like that, and just getting information out there is so critical. Is there anything else we need to talk about? Anything on your mind that you want to complain about, like the debt ceiling situation? Well, so that is going to change, and I'm waiting to hear from or letting the dust settle, because there are a couple of things that of significance. One is raising the age of work requirements for able-bodied adults without dependents from 49 to 54. And then they have now exempted two populations that have not been exempt before. In Utah, they have been, but so there are three. So veterans will now be exempt from the work requirement, and we're just starting a outreach project with the VA. So that's well timed. The second group is you're exempt if you're homeless from work requirements, and Utah has actually had that exemption for multiple years. You just have to specify that being homeless prevents you from getting or keeping work, and it's just a based on client statement. And then the third group that is now exempt from work requirements are kids transitioning out of foster care. So I think up to the age of 24. So as they make that transition, they will not be subject to the work requirement, which, I mean, work requirements just are death. I mean, they don't help people get jobs. But what we do need is more support for, so a foster kid isn't subject to the work requirements, but what other sorts of interactions are happening with that foster child to make sure that when they are turned 24 and they're subject to the work requirements, that they sort of have a skill set that they can use. Anyway, I will not rant anymore.
Question on that, Gina. What about, I know that they've talked about changing the educational exemption that was under the emergency.
That did not happen with the debt limit conversation,
Okay.
but it will be part of the Farm Bill broader conversation. So as soon as we get information and, any outreach or educational information that we get from DWS, we'll be sure and share that. But unless there's anything else, I will let you get back to your day.
I did have one more question.
Yes.
Do you want to work offline to set up a training for our team?
Yes. And that's what I'm doing one this afternoon at 1 or 2. I can't remember, for a Peace House, but yeah, let's work offline, Sarah, to get you, to get the line done for you guys.
Great. Thank you.
Okay. Well, everybody have a good day. Stay dry. It looks like it's going to try and rain today. And enjoy your day. It's good to see your faces. Thank you, guys.
Thank you, Gina.
Okay. Bye-bye.